Well, there you have it. Every nook, cranny, and corner of this house disinfected. Ain't a chance anyone's getting sick up in here. Ain't a bacteria within miles. Man, this town has really changed. Oh, there go the neighbors, secreting inflammatory molecules again. Just so toxic down here.
The next day.
How could this happen? There were no germs. 0 germs. Unless germs weren't the problem. Yo, what is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health. My name is Kevin. I run liftandbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic manner. Today, we are going to tackle how someone can live in one of the most population-dense cities in the world, be a frequent traveler on planes, trains, and automobiles, juggle work and family stress, and not have anything more than the slightest sniffles the whole time. We are talking about how not to get sick, and how many of the things they taught us growing up, along with many of the common hygiene practices today, may actually be making you more sick rather than less sick. I know, the deception.
Oh, the deception!
The theme of this week's immunity boosting adventure will be focused on lifestyle do's and don'ts, and how to tap into your body's in-house pharmacy. We got one, and it's open for business. So we have 7 habits/strategies on the docket, and we're gonna talk about how to use them to keep us healthy, to keep us the opposite of sick, why they work, and how to activate them in an optimal way. What we won't be diving into for this specific video is exogenous remedies and substances that you can leverage to aid this journey. So I'll probably be making a part 2 to cover that specifically. Without further ado, let's start with a brief overview of the 2 critical yet distinct components of our natural defense systems. Our 2 immune systems, innate and adaptive. First, the innate. The innate immune system is our body's first line of defense against harmful germs and pathogens trying to gain entrance. It is fast, swarming, and non-specific, meaning it responds in the same way to all germs and foreign substances, with the main goal of destroying the threat and everything in the vicinity. Yep, that means non-threats typically get wiped out too. So we want to keep this system in check, only using it when we need it in life-threatening scenarios. And the good news is we can do that because of the adaptive immune system. This is the innate immune system's methodical cousin. It is specific, meaning it targets only the specific type of pathogen that is causing the infection. But to do this, it first needs to identify the pathogen. And that takes time, meaning it is slower than the innate immune system, but it's a lot more accurate. The adaptive immune system also has this great advantage of remembering a pathogen. So next time, when a known pathogen is encountered, it has the ability to respond a lot faster. This builds into the concept that we know as immunity. It may take a few days for the adaptive immune system to initially respond, but that next time, it'll react immediately. And many times the second infection isn't even noticed or is very, very mild. Here's the kicker. For optimal health and survival, both immune systems are pretty much critical. So it's really, really advantageous to have them working together as a team, kind of like our biological Starsky and Hutch, taking care of any and all funny business happening on the inside. So do it. Hey, do it. You get the reference? Be prepared for the Starsky and Hutch references to come.
Lay it on right here, do it. Do it.
It's gonna be a fun one. All right, so now that we covered that essential tidbit of information, let's jump into our 7 focus areas. First, how we breathe. Bet you didn't think we were going to start here. Well.
How the turntables.
Let's table a lot of the awesome benefits we get when we use our body's natural breathing apparatus to facilitate gas exchange, the mandatory function of gas exchange, because we cover them here, and focus on its role in preventing us from getting sick. There are a few key takeaways here. First, unlike our mouth, our nasal passage is equipped with these hair-like cells called cilia. This cilia, along with mucus sacs that line the nasal passageway, filters all of the air that makes its way through. And guess what these 2 cool features do for us? They trap external substances like pathogens, viruses, bacteria, parasites, fungi, and introduce them to Starsky. I figured the innate immune system would be more of a Starsky rather than Hutch, right? We have immune cells waiting at this point of entry to inspect, track, and kill all suspect activity. Pretty cool sickness prevention tool. And all you have to do is breathe through your nose. Next, we're going to talk about the power of deep, intentional belly breathing and how we can use this to lower stress. Believe it or not, intentional controlled breathing is the fastest and most effective way to activate our rest and digest or parasympathetic nervous system, down-regulating stress hormones, thus putting us in a calm, cool, relaxed, de-stressed state. All by breath, all by breathing through the nose, thus combating the nefarious and health deteriorating effects that low-dose chronic stress has on our body. Oh yeah, it can also improve oxygen efficiency and improve our internal pH levels, creating a more alkaline environment. All of this through breath, deep belly breathing, through your nose. A good place to start is by implementing a box breathing practice. And it's very, very simple. You inhale through the nose for a count, say a count of 4. You hold for a count of 4, and you exhale through the mouth for another count of 4. You take a brief pause at the end of the exhale, make sure all of the air is out of your lungs, and you repeat, and you repeat, and you repeat. This is sending a direct signal from your diaphragm, something attached to your nervous system, to the primal part of your brain, the brain stem, that, hey, we can't be anxious, we can't be freaking out, we can't be in a panic attack because we're breathing slow and controlled. Reverse hacks, gotta love them. A breathing practice, whatever it may be, can be life-altering. And it fits quite nicely with a mindfulness practice, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. Starting off with a bang, right? Let's keep that intensity high and talk about movement. We were meant to move, not sit. Movement is medicine. Motion is lotion. It is beneficial on so many levels. But how does it pertain to defending us from getting sick? Well, first, it is critical to get our lymph flow on. Our lymphatic system is the network of tissues and organs that help rid the body of toxins, waste, and unwanted material. Its primary function is to support the transport of lymph. I don't know why this means lymph, but this means lymph, which is a fluid containing infection-fighting white blood cells, which basically means it's an expressway for our immune system to travel throughout our body. But there's a catch. This complex and extensive system of nodes and organs doesn't have anything to pump it. So if you sit on your ass, it sits on its ass. Lymph flow is stimulated by movement. And it is essential for continuous detoxification of our body and immune health. So we gotta move, people, especially in the morning after we've been laying down for 8+ hours. I know, everyone's getting 8 hours of sleep, right? We're gonna talk about that in a little bit, don't you worry. Light yoga and stretching is a great way to get your lymph flow going in the morning. It'll also stimulate the nervous system, waking you up. And things such as jumping jacks, rebounding, or even a gingerly walk work well too. whatever it is, just move. I personally do 300 jumping jacks every morning when I get up, and then I get into about a 20-minute yoga flow. Every single morning. You gotta put yourself in a position to win. But wait, there is more. Research has also shown that moderate exercise actually strengthens the immune system. But too much or over-exercising can actually weaken the immune system. So keep your intense exercise to an hour or less a day. Speaking of critical hours, let's transition to those 8 critical hours each night. I know, my setups are absolute fire. I get it. I can't help it. Sleep. As you probably know, I have bought in on the power of sleep. Why else would I have a full playlist dedicated to it and its voodoo magic? Here's the deal, and I'm gonna be straight with you. Sleep can be your biggest strength as it pertains to your health or your biggest flaw. Consistent sleep quality heals, while interrupted or shortened sleep does, well, the opposite. It accelerates pretty much anything nefarious happening on the inside. And yes, it most definitely does have a relationship with our immune system. Good quality sleep has been associated with a reduced risk of infection. It's also been shown to improve infection outcomes and vaccination responses. However, prolonged sleep deficiency, low quality or sporadic sleep, can lead to chronic systemic low-grade inflammation and is associated with disease such as diabetes, atherosclerosis, cancer, and neurodegeneration. Geez, anything else? You know it. The research suggests that sleep actually improves the immune system's memory. The interaction of immune system components when we sleep reinforces our immune system's ability to recognize and react to dangerous antigens. So it's important to sleep, and please keep your dirty dreams to yourself or write them in like your dream journal or something. Speaking of getting dirty, damn, I am on today. Get dirty, get out in the environment. Number 4. Now, this may be a little different than what you're used to hearing, but you made it this far, hear me out. We've evolved for millions of years out in the elements, out in the environment, out in nature. However, in this modern society, we spend upwards of 90% of our lives indoors. What could go wrong, right? Let me introduce you to the hygiene hypothesis, or the idea that our over-cleanly, disinfecting ways are actually making us sicker. Because every spray, every sanitation, every gargle, we are wiping out not only the potentially harmful microorganisms in, on, and around us, but the good and protective ones too. And this clean slate opens up the opportunity for potential nefarious pathogens to land and solidify themselves in and on us. Dirt is not bad. Dirt is actually good. Go get dirty. It builds and nurtures a biodiverse holobiome, or community of microorganisms in and on us that protect and aid our health. So go outside and get dirty, get a pet, bring them inside, let them sleep on your bed, all for that biodiversity, baby. By the way, on the topic of getting in nature, nature therapy, or getting fresh air, getting sunlight, getting out in the greenery or by the sea, overall outdoor time has shown to have profound impacts on our mental and physical health. Aligning circadian rhythms and synthesizing one of the most critical vitamins for our health, vitamin D. Improving mood, decreasing psychological stress, depression, and anxiety, all by getting outside. This consistent interaction with the environment actually increases our biodiversity, tuning and strengthening the immune system. So get out there in that external world. And while you're doing it, give some love to that external world within. Those trillions of microorganisms that we so graciously host for our whole life. Nurture and strengthen your gut. You probably know by now that I'm a little bit of a microbiome geek. If you didn't, I'm a microbiome geek. Now you know. These hundreds of trillion microorganisms that live and pass through our gut have profound impacts on our health and well-being. And we cover a lot of these impacts in detail on many other videos, all of which I will link below. But in terms of not getting sick, here's what you want to know. Biodiversity is lacking in the modern day gut due to processed foods, environmental toxins, poor lifestyle habits. We often cultivate a community of less than optimal, inflammation-driving microorganisms down there. This often leads to gut permeability, or leaky gut, where the protective mucus layer that sits on top of our intestinal cells deteriorates, and the endothelial cells that make up the gut wall begin to loosen, opening up the door for bigger, non-VIP molecules and organisms to make their way into the hottest club in town, circulation. And guess where upwards of 60% of the immune system sits? On the other side, the internal side of our gut wall. And when we have this dysfunction or dysbiosis in our gut, the deterioration of that protective mucus layer, the loosening of our tight epithelial junctions, we get an overactive immune system. Inflammation, which isn't a bad thing unless it's continuous in the chronic fashion, which it often is with gut dysfunction. Yeah. So I'd classify this as a need to have rather than a nice to have if your goal is to not get sick. The stronger your gut wall, the more you promote beneficial communities of microbes within, the less sick you'll be. Here are some things to do to build that prosperous garden within. First, eat a cultured array of foods. Prioritize real whole foods, foods that you would find in nature, and keep switching it up. Variety is important. Fermented foods such as natto, miso, pickles, sauerkraut, and yogurt are all good. And prebiotics, or foods that are high in dietary fibers that feed those good microbes within, are critical. I don't call those microbes fiber munchers for nothing. So get a hefty serving of real whole plant foods that are high in dietary fiber, and don't rush the fiber intake. It could lead to gas, bloating, and discomfort. Slow and steady, slowly and steadily add more fiber to your diet over time. Sustainable change, the best change. We're playing the long game. And like we talked about before, go outside, interact with pets, interact with animals, interact with all the invisible microorganisms in the environment. All of this makes a difference and will begin to improve your biodiversity in and on you. Oh, and please be conscious of any exogenous extracurricular substances that you put in your body. Want me to elaborate? Of course. Number 6, limit the extracurriculars. What you put in and on your body has a direct and indirect impact on your present day and long-term health. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. Chemicals in cleaning supplies and body care items can disrupt the microorganisms in and on us. They can disrupt our endocrine system, leading to inaccurate signaling and upregulation of the immune system. Inflammation. So do your research and understand what you're putting on yourself and in yourself. A simple rule that I follow is, if I wouldn't eat it, I ain't putting it on me. Next, pay attention to things such as antibiotics and limit them unless they're absolutely necessary, because they can do more harm than good, especially broad spectrum antibiotics, which are, as it has in its name, built to destroy all and any bacteria in hopes of upping the chance that it kills the problematic species in the process. That is, if whatever's making you sick is bacterial in origin and not viral, in which you'd be nuking your entire gut for basically no reason. See the potential problem? Consistent antibiotic use drives gut dysfunction and dysbiosis, which gets you sick more often and leads to more antibiotic use. Yeah, it's a vicious cycle indeed. And even worse, it's an accepted cycle. So consult with your doctor and ask them straight up if the antibiotic is necessary. And if it is, ask them how you can prevent and mitigate against the potential downside of antibiotic use. And if they say there is no downside, well, you might want to go get a second opinion. Next, easy on the booze, over-the-counter drugs, and drugs in general. Research has shown that high doses of alcohol, 14 or more drinks per week or 5 or 6 drinks in one sitting, directly suppresses the immune system. If you drink and you don't want to get sick, do it in a very controlled moderation. Oh yeah, and hard recreational drugs aren't going to help any cause. Remember, if you have the goal of not getting sick in mind, they essentially have zero upside. And with the mind in mind, we finish up with the last strategy, grasping the power of the mind and managing your stress. I'm not gonna lie, this 5-pound mushy membrane that sits within our cranial cabinets is quite powerful. A mere thought alone has the power to propagate downward through the figurative layers of the brain and change our entire physiological and biochemical state in a matter of seconds, upregulating stress hormones, putting us in a fight or flight sympathetic nervous system state, and driving excessive immune system activity. And when this is chronic, which it almost always is, it is very bad for biological business. Chronic psychological and emotional stress can upregulate anything nefarious happening within, tiring and weakening the immune system, altering genetic expressions and accelerating disease. So, if you want to not get sick, you have to get a grip on this ball of cellular mush. My favorite ways to get this done is, first, maximize your natural stress relievers such as good nourishing food, daily exercise, and adequate consistent sleep. Second, try and be consistent with a mindfulness or breathing practice each and every day. Ideally, sometime in the morning. Here's why. Sitting still and concentrating on your breath will make you become a better observer of your thoughts. It turns on your rest or digest parasympathetic nervous system and helps you develop a key skill, the art of stopping negative thoughts, ideas, and external happenings in their tracks before they can propagate downstream and get you all riled up. And preliminary research suggests that mindfulness actually has an anti-aging effect and is even shown to lengthen telomeres, or those protective caps on the ends of our chromosomes. How much does that actually matter? Time will tell. But we'll take it. Having a gratitude, empathy, and compassion practice is also beneficial. The science shows that people with a gratitude practice and/or practice compassion meditation are healthier and happier. This could be as simple as repeating or writing down 2 things that you're grateful for each and every morning, or sending good vibes to people during your meditation, wishing them a prosperous and fulfilling day, or just doing something like box breathing, which we discussed way back in strategy number 1. Yeah, I get it. It may sound woo-woo, and I thought it was too. And then I tried it. And now I'm making videos on how to optimize human longevity and highlighting it as a critical factor. You can make all of the healthy lifestyle changes in the world, but if you don't build a strategy and deal with what's up in here, you're never going to be able to consistently stave off sickness. And that's it. That's what I got. Remember, change doesn't happen overnight. It happens over many nights. So take it slow. We're playing the long game here, and it's all about sustainability. It's the daily micro habits that we implement that lead to macro changes. So keep chipping away. As always, let me know what comments, questions, any random thoughts you have down below. If you need me before next week, I will probably be watching Starsky and Hutch on repeat, maybe a brief break to watch Minions, but other than that, do it. Do it.
Do it.
Do it.